Hi, I'm Andy from Roland. We're back here at Gear4music. I'm just doing another video on the Go Keys series of keyboards. We've done a separate video which is an overview where we go through all of the different features and look at some sounds. So have a look at that one first if you haven't already, because that will help you understand the product a bit. But what we wanted to do in this one is have a bit more of a deep dive on the chord sequencer function and specifically talk about how this can be a really nice aid to help you with songwriting if you are interested in that kind of aspect. So let's take a quick look. On the Go Keys, when I go to my scene function, and if I navigate to what we call an initial scene, which is just a blank scene, you see that the chord sequencer button is lit up on here. And what this means is that there's a preset chord sequence that's going to play for us when we use our style. So if I go to the style and I can choose something from a different from the list, I'm going to choose this one, Amazing Pop. Go to my arranger. Let's choose variation 2. So when I press the chord sequencer, you can see it loads a preset chord sequence for me, which is C, G, A minor, F, and that sounds like this. This is a very common chord sequence that is used in a lot of pop music. And we can use this as a backing and we can sort of play along with it with one of the sounds on the Go Keys. So I can sort of accompany myself. Or I could use it as a backing to sort of figure out a melody that I might want to work on. If I'm trying to write my own song and I want to figure out a particular melody for my vocals, I can sort of play around whilst that chord sequence is going. So. Which can be quite cool. But what's really great about this is, particularly if you're a beginner and you're not so much, you don't have as much knowledge on music theory, is we can use this chord sequence to sort of learn a bit more about music and program your own sequences. So there are a bunch of preset chord sequences built in there. If I press menu, it brings up a huge different selection of sounds. And in fact, if I press this button underneath the screen that says tag, you can tag a chord sequence that gives you a particular kind of style. So you can see we've got basic, we have bright, major. If I go to say dark, this will just give me chord sequences that have a darker kind of feel to them. So I could choose, say, this one. Let's try this third one, A minor 7th to E minor 7th. See what this sounds like. So you can hear that's got a completely different kind of sound to it. And these can be really inspirational. But what's really great is it allows you to program your own chord sequences. So if I go to menu under the screen here, and let's go to utility and clear. And let's just go to the end, clear all of these. So now we have no chords built into it. And if I go to the chord edit function, I can now play in my own. So if I wanted to program a particular chord sequence, so let's go for A minor, and I go to my next one. Let's have G, let's have F, and let's even go just back to G actually. So we have 4 chord sequences on here. But I can then, I can sort of experiment a little bit with this. So again, if you've only got basic knowledge where you just have knowledge of playing sort of triad chords, you can go through underneath using the type function and explore different types of chords. So say instead of A minor, I could cycle through all of these different options and I could find, say A sus4 and see what does this sound like. Now if I play the chord sequence. It has a different kind of feel. If I play, let's say, A minor with an added 9th, this again will have a different sound. We can also go through and we can add different types of bass notes as well. So if I go over to, say, the G chord on here, and click bass. So another thing that you might do in music is play a different bass note under a chord. So for instance, if I play a C major chord, but I give it an A as a bass, it has a different kind of sound. So we can do different things like that. So let me just program back in my G chord, and let's try a different bass note. Let's try, say, a B underneath it, and see what this sounds like. So you can hear there, just from experimenting, I can get sort of quite complex sounding chord sequences going without sort of me having to have knowledge of what those chords are. I can just sort of mess around through the different options and figure things out, which is great. But also the other good thing is that we can do much longer chord sequences. So you can actually do up to 256 steps. We can use the variation function in the style to create our own song, really. So I'm just going to go back to my menu and clear this again. Let's clear it all. Oops. And this time, let's go to our setting. And instead of 4, I'm just going to increase this to be 8 chord sequences. So we're going to have a very basic 4 chords, which we might say is our verse, and then 4 chords, which we could say is our chorus. So I'm going to go back to my chord edit, and I'm just going to play in a very basic chord pattern. So let's say for our verse, let's have what we had before. In fact, maybe slightly different. Let's have A minor, C, G, and F. And let's have a couple of different variations. So let's have A minor 7th, perhaps. In fact, actually, that's A7 sus4. That's quite a nice chord. Let's have C add 9. And what I'm going to do for this first one is I'm going to specify a variation of my pattern. So I mentioned earlier on there are different levels of complexity that you can have with your style in the arranger function, but we can specify which one we want. So for this one, I'm going to choose on the first chord variation, just variation 1. And then when I move over to, say, chord 5, which would be my chorus, we're going to go for sort of a major feel here. So let's go for C, and we'll do A minor, G, and F. But this one, I'm going to specify variation 4, which is our most complex one. Now, when we go back to the start, we can listen to our song in order from here. So now I'm going to play it, and we will have a more basic pattern for the first 4 chords, and then something a bit more advanced for the second 4. And it'll cycle around there, but you can also specify it to stop at a particular point if you wanted to. But of course, while this is playing, you can still play over the top, so you can figure out your melodies, or if you just want to set it going and then perform with a vocal, you can do. And again, you can record this over USB, either into your computer or onto a USB stick on the Go Keys. So I hope this gives an idea of how you could use the chord sequencer to sort of create your own songs. And of course, you can use any of the built-in styles. So we were just looking, using this one that was called Amazing Pop. But if I go to my style, let's choose, say this one, Sparkle Pop, which is again is a different type. We haven't changed the chords, but this will have a completely different sound because of the style that we're using. So there's a whole host of different things that you can explore and have fun writing songs, really. So thanks for joining me on this little video to explore the chord sequencer function on the Go Keys. We've also done a separate video, which is a complete overview of the product, just to go through all of the different features. So do make sure that you check that out. But for more information on the Go Keys or any other Roland product, check out the Gear4music website. Thanks very much for watching.